Since the bans, the dust has settled, and we're officially in a new era of Modern. This video ranks the top 10 best decks to conquer the Modern meta. Orzhov Blink is all about controlling the board and squeezing maximum value out of repeatable enter effects. Key opening moves include Aether Vial and Ephemerate, allowing you to eke out as much value as possible. As the game progresses, Recruiter of the Guard gives you access to utility creatures, letting you adapt your strategy to your opponent's game plan. One of the deck's coolest synergies involves casting Overlord of the Baelmerk for its impending cost, turning it into a 2-mana enchantment. Then, when Felia attacks, it can flicker the Overlord and it returns as a 5/5 creature, turning that initial investment into a serious board presence. This deck is a master of value, but what if you could build a deck around Sacrifice Engine so powerful it became an unstoppable combo? In 9th place is Golgari Yawgmoth. At the centre of it all is Yawgmoth, who sacrifices creatures like Young Wolf to generate card advantage, distribute counters, and extract value. Adding even more synergy is Agatha's Soul Cauldron, which lets creatures gain activated abilities, including Grist's Planeswalker abilities. This means your smallest creatures can act as a Grist, giving you incredible flexibility and power. To ensure consistency, the deck leans on Chord of Calling and Green Sun Zenith to fetch key pieces like Hapatra and any of the other green combo pieces. Sure, this deck's a synergy-driven masterpiece, but what if you could unleash massive creatures and devastating combos as early as turn 2? In 8th place, it's Amulet Titan. At its core, the deck generates explosive mana using Amulet of Vigor and Bounce lands, enabling the early casting of Primeval Titan. Now, losing the One Ring certainly hurt, but the addition of Green Sun Zenith brings a whole new level of consistency to the deck. The traditional win condition revolves around Dryad of the Elysian Grove, turning all of your lands into mountains, which pairs with Valakut, triggering lethal damage. But the deck has a newer combo up its sleeve. One of the key combos involves Aftermath Analyst, Amulet of Vigor, 2 Lotus Field, a Shifting Woodlands, and any 2 other lands. By turning Shifting Woodlands into Aftermath Analyst and sacrificing it to its own ability, you return all lands from your graveyard to the battlefield, including the Lotus Fields and the Shifting Woodland itself. This is generating at least 9 mana, and it only costs 8 mana to do again, creating a repeatable loop that generates infinite mana. Now, you can then use that mana to play threats from your hand, or more importantly, if you have a Surveil land, you can mill yourself to find other key cards that through this loop can lock your opponent out of the game. This deck delivers absurdly fast ramp and massive threats. But what if you could pair powerful synergies with incredible mid-range value and disruption? In 7th place is Mardu Energy. Creatures like Guide of Souls and Ocelot Pride generate plenty of energy and tokens, ensuring you maintain pressure while building resources. The synergy really shines with Felia, which pairs beautifully with the Overlord of Baelmerk, not only flickering its ability but bringing it back without the impending counters for even more value. The deck's mid-range core is bolstered by Fable of the Mirror Breaker, offering card filtering, token creation, and incredible late-game value after it transforms. And with disruption tools like Thoughtseize, is positioned well to try and combat all of the combo decks in the meta. Now, this deck might shine at controlling the board, but what if your strategy revolves around chaining spells into a game-ending storm of damage? In 6th place is Ruby Storm. At its heart is Ruby Medallion, which reduces the cost of your red spells and sets up explosive turns of rituals. The deck ensures you never run out of gas with card advantage tools like Reckless Impulse and Ren's Resolve, and Blast in Flames, which lets you reuse mana generating spells from your graveyard for even bigger turns. Your win conditions? Well, it's Grape Shot or Empty the Warrens, both accessed reliably through Wish from your sideboard, which can also grab other sideboard options when needed. On top of this, adding even more consistency is Rao, providing redundancy for mana reduction and flipping into card advantage when the combo is rolling. The deck lights up the stack with its powerful combos. But what if you could win the game in a single explosive turn without any traditional lands? In 5th place is Tameshi Belcher. By running no traditional lands and relying on modal double-faced lands, every Charbelcher activation is guaranteed to deal lethal damage. The deck keeps opponents in check with counterspells, while cards like Philagi Archaeologist and Thundertrap Trainer provide card selection to help find your combo pieces consistently. But what makes this deck really shine is Whir of Invention, which fetches Goblin Charbelcher or utility artifacts like Lotus Bloom, which paired with Tameshi, Lotus Bloom generates absurd amounts of mana, setting up your game-ending combo. This deck wins with precision and explosiveness. But what if you could overwhelm your opponent with massive creatures as early as turn 3? In 4th place, it's Gruul Eldrazi. Cards like Eldrazi Temple and Utopia Sprawl provide the ramp you need to cast game-ending monsters like Emrakul far ahead of the curve. But consistency is key, and the deck delivers with tools like Malevolent Rumble and Sowing Mycospore, which help you find ramp pieces, threats, or utility lands like Sanctum of Ugin to keep the pressure on. On the defensive side, the deck packs strong removal and utility spells like Kozilek's Command and Kozilek's Return, giving you answers to early threats while synergizing beautifully with your Eldrazi spells. This deck overwhelms opponents with massive creatures, but what if your game plan revolved around efficient threats, graveyard synergies, and relentless tempo control? Well, in 3rd place is Dimir Frog Oculus. At the heart of the deck is Psychic Frog and Abhorrent Oculus, which capitalise on graveyard setup from Fault Scour and recursion through Unearth to generate value and maintain pressure. The deck's interaction suite is top-notch, featuring Counterspell, Fatal Push, and Force of Negation to disrupt your opponent's strategy and keep the board under control. Consistency comes from card filtering, like Consider and Fault Scour, ensuring you're always digging into the cards you need. To close the games, late-game threats like Murktide Region provide resilience and staying power. Meanwhile, if you choose to run Orcish Bowmaster, it adds versatility, punishing your opponent's card draw while keeping the board presence strong. This deck combines tempo and disruption to lock down the board. But what if you could control the board and punish your opponent with burn and energy-fueled synergy? Well, in 2nd place, it's Boros Energy. Ocelot Pride and Guide of Souls generate energy counters, powering up impactful plays like Static Prison and Galvanic Discharge to remove key threats and maintain control. The mid-range plan shines with value engines like Seasoned Pyromancer, which provides card advantage and creates tokens to pressure opponents. Flage serves as a devastating late-game threat, while Blood Moon punishes opponents relying on greedy mana bases. To top it all off, Goblin Bombardment offers an alternative win condition, turning creatures into direct damage and synergizing perfectly with Ajani, flipping him instantly for even more power. This deck thrives on energy synergies and relentless aggression. But what if you want a deck that uses the graveyard to fuel game-winning combos? Well, the current best modern deck is Temur Breach. The deck's fair game plan is already powerful, with Emry providing consistent card advantage and mana acceleration through the artifacts it grabs from the graveyard. Then not only is Tamiyo a potential 1-mana planeswalker, but she floods the board with artifacts, which combines very well with Urza's Saga's construct tokens, applying a lot of pressure and oftentimes being enough to close the game out even without the combo. Speaking of which, how does the combo actually work? Well, the primary combo features Underworld Breach, Grinding Station, and any of the 0-mana artifacts, letting you mill your deck repeatedly and generate infinite mana if the artifact is one of the Moxes. Then, with that mana, you can cast Thassa's Oracle for an instant win. The deck rounds out with interaction to protect the combo and control the board, as well as card advantage to help dig for combo pieces, making this deck incredibly consistent. And that's been 10 of the best current modern decks. But before you go, if you're looking for more incredibly powerful modern decks, click the video on the left or check out my latest video on the right.